When you know you're sick, you usually have symptoms and telling you that something's wrong, something's not working right. So you can go to the doctor or you could go to the drugstore and get some medicine. But there are times that you may be sick and you don't even know it because your symptoms are silent. There are women who are walking around not aware that they're not living in their assignment because the symptoms are silent. So that's why today I'm sharing 5 symptoms of a woman who doesn't know her assignment. Now, if this isn't you, that's fine. Use what you learned today to help somebody else. Amen? All right. Hello and welcome to Morning Coffee with Joyce. I'm Joyce Abrils of herrichlife.com, and I host this show to give you the tools you need to live a purpose-aligned life. So before we talk about assignment, I want to do a quick review so that we're all on the same page and you understand exactly what I mean when I say assignment. The first thing I want to remind you of is that your assignment goes hand in hand with your purpose and your calling. Your purpose, if you're a Christian, believer, Jesus follower, Christ follower, Jesus girl, your purpose is to glorify God and serve others. Now, the way that you live out that purpose is your calling. Your calling uses your unique gifts and talents and skills, abilities, and the experiences that you've had in your life to live out that purpose. Now, the thing that you're doing right now in this current season of your life, that's your assignment. That's where you're living out your calling and your purpose. And so they all go hand in hand. Sometimes, like I said a few minutes ago, we don't know what our assignment is, or we don't know or realize that we're not living it. And so what does it look like when a woman isn't living her God-given assignment? Well, there are clues. In today's episode, I'm calling them symptoms. And I'm going to talk about 5 of them. I'm sure there are more, but these are the 5 that the Lord laid on my heart. And so that's where we're going to start. There may be another part 2 of this somewhere down the line, but for now, we're going to focus on 5. The first one, symptom number 1, is feeling unfulfilled in your career, your current career. If you're in a career that doesn't resonate with your passions and your strengths, you might be living outside of your assignment. Let me ask you some questions. Does your stomach start tightening up on Sunday evening because you have to go to work on Monday? When you actually get to work, do you daydream about being somewhere else? And third, are you just trying to get to Friday so you can have the weekend off from your job? If you resonate with any of these, there's a good chance your career is no longer fulfilling you. And remember, your work can be a powerful tool for glorifying God and serving other people. So it's a tool that can be used, whether it's a job for someone else, whether it's you're working for yourself in business or a nonprofit setting, whatever it is, it can be a wonderful tool for glorifying God. But how glorifying can you be when your career is sucking the life out of you? When you're at a career crossroads, that's a symptom that you're not living your assignment. I remember back when I was still on the bench and I was feeling all of those 3 questions that I just asked you. I was feeling all of those things. That's why I know about this. And I was feeling like, I just don't like doing this anymore. Sunday evening, I'd start getting depressed because I know I had to get up on Monday morning and go to work. I'd go to work, and if I wasn't sitting on the bench actively hearing cases, I'd be sitting in my office staring out my window at the parking lot, even though I had administrative things to do. And I was just living for Friday because I knew at 5 o'clock on Friday, I didn't have to come back to that place until 9 a.m. on Monday. Well, the problem is that when you're doing that, you may not have to leave your career, which is what I finally did. But when you're doing that, you're not glorifying God. You're not living your calling, and you're not living in your assignment. It could be that the Lord is just telling you to change jobs, okay? But when you feel like what you're doing is sucking the life out of you, and you're not being a great witness for the Lord in the work that you're doing, then it's time to make a change. It's time to look for the kind of work that's going to allow you to use your gifts, your talents, and your unique skills that can make a lasting impact on the world, in your community, in your family, whatever your sphere of influence is. Because the truth of the matter is everything that we do, whether it's work or whether it's being in church on Sunday, we use it all to be a witness for the Lord. Remember Colossians 3:23 that says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. Ultimately, you're working for the Lord. That means that you have to focus on doing work that He's called you to do in this place, in this current time of your life, in your assignment that He's called you to do right now. So if that's not where you are, then ask Him to show you how to do something about it. So that's symptom number 1. Symptom number 2 is not using your unique talents and abilities. God has given each of us unique talents and abilities. And if you're not using these gifts that He's given you, you're missing out on a chance to serve in His assignment for you in this season. Romans 12:6 says, in His grace, God has given us different gifts for doing certain things well. If you're not using your gifts, you're probably not living in your assignment. I recently had a conversation with a friend of mine. She has a daughter who's in her second year of college right now, and I was asking her how she was doing, and she told me, well, she's struggling a little bit. And so as we chatted about that, she told me that she thinks the problem is that her daughter is majoring in computer science, and she's good at computers, but her love is really dance. She has been dancing since she could stand up. She's been in recitals and performances. She's gotten great reviews at her dancing. God has blessed her with a gift of dancing. She's really gifted and talented in that area. But she told her mom when she was deciding what to major in and going to college that she was going to do the sensible thing, which is amazing in itself for an 18-year-old. But she said that she was going to major in computer science. But my friend is now urging her, to explore the possibility of doing something with dance. Even if she wants to continue to major in computer science, she could even do dance as a minor. But don't leave out that gift that God has given her, because she doesn't know how the Lord is going to use that gift in her life. So my question to you is, are you using your gifts and your talents in your everyday life? Or are you stuck in doing the sensible thing and what seems most realistic, but it's not your present assignment right now? When you use your gifts and your talents to bring light and joy to others, you glorify God. Remember, that's your purpose. And someone may even be thinking, well, I don't know what my gifts are. And I've even had women tell me, Joyce, I don't have any gifts. There's nothing special about me. Well, first of all, if you don't know what your gifts are, I want you to go to giftstest.com. It's a free online tool that you can use to get your spiritual gifts. And it's spelled GIFTS, test, TEST.com. And you can find out exactly what your spiritual gifts are. And again, it's online, it's free. The second thing I want you to do is take out a sheet of paper, grab your favorite notebook, or even open the Notes app on your phone. And I want you to make a list of all the things that you can do. And I don't want you to edit yourself. I don't want you to think that anything is too small. I want you to put everything down there that you believe that you can do. Once you've completed your list, I want you to go back through it. And I want you to note the ones that you feel you're really good at. And also, which are the ones that people are telling you that's your gift, or they're telling you, you do such a great job with that. I want you to note that. And finally, I want you to take your list and I want you to ask the Lord how He wants you to use those things to fulfill your present assignment. Because I assure you, everything that He's given you, He's given it to you to live your purpose, your calling, and your assignment. Symptom number 3 is being in toxic or unfulfilling relationships. Relationships that don't honor your worth as a child of God can divert you from your assignment. And a toxic and unfulfilling relationship does not only apply to romantic relationships. Women can find themselves caught up in all kinds of relationships that don't honor them. It could be a relationship with a family member. It could be friends. It could be coworkers. It could be someone at your church. But if you're in a relationship that leaves you feeling devalued, and that you're less than the extraordinary woman that God created you to be, there's something wrong with that relationship. It will also keep you stuck trying to figure out how you can fix it. What do you need to do to fix it? And I'm going to give you something that's going to set you free right now with this one sentence. You cannot fix it because it's not you. It really is them. So when you're in a wrong relationship, the last thing you're probably thinking about is how to live your assignment. Turmoil and toxicity will take over your life. A drama-filled life is the opposite of an assignment-focused life. 1 Corinthians 15:33 says this, "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character." I have a friend who grew up seeing her grandfather beat her grandmother. She also saw her father beat her mother. So as a little girl, she promised herself she would never allow that to happen to her when she grew up. Well, guess what? Not only did it happen to her one time, two times, but three times. Three times she became her mother and her grandmother. She was stuck in a cycle of abuse and toxicity and turmoil and drama. She was finally able to break that cycle through a lot of prayer, going to counseling. But she shared to me that while she was stuck in those relationships, all she could think about was surviving. Living her assignment was the last thing on her mind. And that's true for anybody who's really caught up in a toxic relationship. And it may not be as extreme as my girlfriend's. It may not be physical abuse or that kind of thing. But any relationship that's pulling you away from the thing that God wants you to do right now can be a toxic relationship. That's also a symptom of a woman not living in her assignment. So spend some time in prayer and ask the Lord to give you direction about what to do with this relationship, as well as how you can best live your assignment in this season of life. Symptom number 4 is feeling spiritually disconnected. Does your connection with God feel off? Does your life feel like it's out of order? Do you feel far from the Lord? These are examples of being spiritually disconnected from Him. And when you're in a place like that, it's impossible to live your assignment because God is the one who gave you your assignment. He gave you yours. He gave me mine. He gives us our assignment. And He's the one who orders our steps and He directs our paths. And He tells us what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. But if you're disconnected from Him, you can't hear Him. I remember 18 years ago, I was going through a divorce and I was so mad at my ex-husband. I was mad at all men. I was mad at God. And I remember walking down the street at lunchtime one day, and a man was approaching me. And as we got close to each other, he smiled and he said, "Good morning." Well, it was good. He did say good morning. It was lunchtime, but he said, "Good morning. How are you doing?" And I can remember my response. I rolled my eyes and I sucked my teeth. And as he was passing me, he said, "My sister, I'm not the man who hurt you." And he's right. He wasn't, but I was mad at anything that was male except my brothers. I was mad. I was mad at them. And during that time, I was being spiritually disconnected from the Lord. Now, through counseling and a lot of prayer, I got through that season and I got over all of that. But I didn't realize at the time, but as you get older and you become more spiritually mature, the problem isn't that I was mad at God, because mad, God can handle. He can handle us being mad at Him. He can handle us asking questions. He just doesn't want us to go away from Him. So the problem is not being mad. The problem is when we're mad and we allow that mad to draw us away from Him. And that's what I was doing. I was spiritually disconnecting myself from Him. And, we can't do that. We can't do that because, first of all, it hurts our relationship with the Lord. But also, it's impossible to live out your current assignment without having that spiritual connection to God. In John 15:5-8, Jesus says, I'm going to read all these verses, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. Staying connected to God is the most important thing that we can do as a Christian, because anything that you're doing without that connection, you're doing in your own power. And God does not call us to do that. He is our source. He is our source for everything. And so we have to keep that connection there. You can only live your purpose, your calling, and your assignment by being connected to him in every second of every day. Our prayer should be Psalm 63:1 that says, you, God, are my God. Earnestly I seek you. I thirst for you. My whole being longs for you in a dry and parched land where there is no water. Nourish your relationship with God through prayer, through Bible study, through fellowship with other believers. Seek spiritual guidance from spiritual mentors, from your pastor, from those people that he's placed in your life to help you through those times when you're feeling far from him. They can help you reignite your passion for living out your assignment as well. There's so much joy in having a close connection with the Lord. And if your relationship feels broken, he's waiting in you with open arms to welcome you back at any time. And that's the thing about God. We don't have to stay disconnected. We can come back to him at any moment of any day and reconnect at any time. Because not only will you be blessed in knowing him in a new and profound way, but you will also want to be in his will in every area of your life, including living your assignment. Then there's symptom number 5, suppressing a dream. God is the ultimate dream giver. Now, back in 2003, author and pastor Bruce Wilkinson wrote a book, The Dream Giver, Living Your God-Given Destiny. He also wrote The Prayer of Jabez. So if you're familiar with that book, it's a little small book, but powerful. The Prayer of Jabez, then it's the same man who wrote that. He wrote the Dream Giver. And the Dream Giver, of course, is God. And this is what the publishers say about the book. The Dream Giver shows how to identify and overcome the obstacles that keep people from living the life they were created for. He begins with a modern-day parable about a character named Ordinary who dares to leave his home in the land of familiar to pursue his big dream. With the help of the Dream Giver, Ordinary begins the hardest and most rewarding journey of his life. The goal of the story is to reveal that there's no limit to what God can accomplish when we choose to pursue the dreams he gives us to his honor. You may be familiar with that story because when it came out, a lot of companies, I don't remember exactly where I was working at that time, but I remember attending trainings and they used the Dream Giver, like Who Moved My Cheese? If you remember that one, everybody was using that in training. Well, the Dream Giver was used as well, even though the Dream Giver is really a spiritual book talking about the Lord. But it brings out the fact that God is the one who places those dreams in our hearts. And if you've been suppressing a dream that he's given you, it's time to evaluate why. Because that dream that you have probably came from the Lord. And when you put that dream on the back burner, that means that you are out of his will. And I know some people haven't thought about it that way. But think about it. If God gives you a dream and you're doing nothing with that dream, then whatever he gives you is his will for your life, then you're out of his will. And so instead, embrace the dream, take it off the back burner, explore how it aligns with what God is calling you to do right now. And when you pursue that dream, that pursuit can lead to true fulfillment and impactful service for the people in your life. And remember, that goes back to that whole thing about purpose. Glorifying God and serving other people. Some people give up on their dreams because it doesn't happen fast enough. That's one of the primary reasons people give up. But we have to remember that since God gave us the dream, he has the right to decide when that dream is going to come to pass. We have to wait for the dream to happen on his timetable. Remember, time in God's economy is different from time in our world. It's very important to understand that we have to be patient with him. And if we love him and we trust him and we believe him, then we also have to trust, love, and believe his timetable. So if you know that God has confirmed a dream that you have, it's going to come true. It will come true. It will come to pass, but it's going to come to pass on his timetable. So continue to pray, continue to seek his will, and continue to accept his timing, because his timing is the one that matters most. And I say this all the time. If God said it, he meant it, and it will happen. So those 5 symptoms of a woman who does not know her current assignment. Number 1, feeling unfulfilled in your current career. Number 2, not using your unique talents and abilities. Number 3, being in a toxic or unfulfilling relationships. Number 4, feeling spiritually disconnected. And number 5, suppressing a dream. If you are dealing with any of these symptoms, I have some good news for you. You're on a journey. That's a continuous process. And anytime you can shift into a season of growth and alignment with your assignment. Each symptom may be a challenge, but there are also opportunities to draw you closer to God so that you can redefine your understanding of what your assignment is right now in this current season. When you courageously step into your God-given assignment, you will find renewed joy, you will find clarity, you will find strength to live out your purpose and your calling with passion and grace. And when you do those 2 things, your assignment will bring you so much joy. And not only that, it's going to please the heart of the Lord. It's going to delight him and give him joy as well. So thank you for joining me today, live and on the replay. I want you to have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Same place, same time. Bye for now.